Hi everyone, I'm Rebecca from HumanWorks, reaching out to you from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I'd like to start off saying that first, I truly hope that you and your loved ones are doing well right now. Sean from our team recently shared a blog post called The Compass. He talks about how he has stayed true to the course of his compass points as he navigates through this pandemic. Our team thought it would be helpful to share a little bit more information about each of those compass points with you. So Sean kicked us off with the first video on beginning and ending in gratitude. Today, I'm talking with you about acting on instinct. AJ will soon talk about listen and learn, and then Sarah will wrap up with stay close. In this time of the COVID-19 pandemic, our world is uncertain from one day to the next. There's one thing we can find confidence in, and that is acting on our instinct. So today, in this current time, I'm especially grateful for people like Kathy Colby. She's the founder of Colby Corp, and she developed the assessment and the principles that build confidence. They strengthen teams and they guide leaders, all through understanding our natural instincts. I can't think of a better time than right now to know that information about yourself and others. As you may have seen in some of our blog posts, the HumanWorks team is certified in Colby, and in fact is one of the foundations of our practice. Last week, I was able to attend a webinar that Kathy held. It was called How to Trust Your Guts in a Crisis. Very catchy title and super relevant for right now. In the webinar, Kathy talked about helping people not only survive right now, but thrive, all by acting on instinct. So what do we mean acting on instinct? How do you go with your gut? To understand that, it starts with the mind, and there's three parts to the mind. There's the cognitive, which is your thinking and your knowledge. Then there's the affective, which are your values and your feelings. Then there's the conative. The conative is your drive and your instincts. Colby focuses on the conative part of your mind. It's the how you do something. And in a crisis, Kathy shared with us that it's the affective part of our mind that really kicks in first. Our emotions trigger our actions and they motivate us to use our abilities. We need to let our emotions drive our actions right now versus stifle or stop them. Because if we stop them, we're going to feel even more constricted or unsettled than we might right now. The cognitive kicks in and that edits our emotions. It brings in our reasoning, it brings in our knowledge. Then the conative, that is the part of the mind that will really control how we use our energy. We can depend on our MOs and we can follow our instincts. And this is how we go with our gut. So it's important right now to remember, with all the uncertainty and everything coming at us, that we need to purposefully give ourselves some time just to pause. We're in a state right now of constant crisis and constant information and change. Our concerns right now are with the health and safety of our loved ones and, quite frankly, ourselves. And our jobs, or at least the way that we work right now, have been greatly affected. So with all of that, it's okay to do nothing at some times and just really take that moment and rebuild our mental energy. For me, that might look like taking the dogs on multiple walks a day. They're not complaining. It's getting down into child's pose, taking extra breaths there. It's hosting a happy hour with my girlfriends, virtually, of course. And it's watching season 3 of Ozark with my husband. We can't have constant focus on the pandemic right now. In fact, one of Kathy's 5 rules for trusting your guts is do nothing when nothing works. So think about your team right now. Like, how is your team taking action? What conative strengths are you seeing displayed in your team members and your teammates, and even in yourself? Now, keep in mind that right now, many people have transitioned to working from home. And so your team is comprised of your work team, but you might have these new coworkers in the form of family members or roommates. So our organization transitioned to work at home about a month ago, and it's been interesting for me to see on all the video calls how people have set up their work at home stations. So someone who naturally leads with gathering information and sharing information, like me, will want details and they'll ask questions. You should have seen me prepare for this video. In a time of change, We need the data. Although I realize this, I also know that right now I need to control the quantity and the type of COVID-19 information that I'm consuming to protect my affective mind. So for me, I've subscribed to only 2 news sources, and I try to read them midday and mid-morning and midday, so I'm not starting or ending my day with that information. I also feel the need to share information with my loved ones, but I make sure that it's relevant to them, and I always add in some sort of positivity, whether it's a quote, a recipe, a link to some sort of free wellness opportunity or something like that. Someone with my MO also needs an appropriate workspace with access and room for their files. So when we first transitioned from home, I bunkered down at our dining room table. It's where I did my work, I had my work bags around me, and it's where I ate, and it's also where I set up my home yoga practice. By the end of day 3, I was feeling so drained, and I realized it was because I was just staying in one spot and not really having information accessible to me. It was just still in my work bag, and I pulled it out as I needed it. So that weekend, I set up a separate desk area, a separate yoga room, and used the table just for eating. I felt so much better. So do you or someone on your team happen to lead with organizing and designing? This is the someone who is going to be building the protocols, writing the processes, building the systems. Right now, in times of great change, this person is feeling great stress. Their plans, their protocols have all gone out the window, or at the very least are changing rapidly daily. So for this person to thrive in great change, they can focus their energy on seeking closure on controllable tasks and following some sort of daily routine, no matter what that is, even if they're working from home. They'll need their at-home space to provide an area or time that they can focus. Someone who leads with handling risk and uncertainty, like Sean on our team, thrives in a changing environment that we have today. Sean leads our daily stand-ups, and he asks great questions that spark conversations about innovation, and he's awesome for brainstorming alternatives. It's not like Sean or somebody like this doesn't feel stressed right now, because they certainly do. It's just that they look at this as an opportunity to create new ideas. Their at-home space needs to have a place where they can redesign it as needed, and they also need an area for brainstorming. Someone who leads with dealing with space and tangibles as their MO best handles change when they can maximize their physical environments and focus on the here and now. Their at-home office needs to have room for physical movement, and they need quality furniture. They're not going to be the ones creating a stand-up desk out of a cardboard box. My new at-home coworker, who's also known as my husband, is a chef and restaurant owner, and he instinctively leads both with dealing with risk and uncertainty and with space and tangibles. So I've seen firsthand during this time how he has shifted his focus to designing meal kits. And he's got a GoPro, he's taking video of his recipes and things like that so he can record the step-by-step instructions. And he's been able to transition his traditional dine-in restaurant to providing an opportunity for families to make food together at home. There's also individuals who instinctively stabilize in any of these areas during uncertain time. They're the ones that are going to find a way by modifying and supporting a variety of activities. They're great for working on a team, but they can also succeed with independent work too. Regardless of where you lead, acting on your instinct will help you and those around you find your way through and onto what's next. In closing, I'll share a quote from Kathy Colby. Your cognitive strengths are the one consistent thing about you right now. They're not going to betray you. Be sure you're using them. Make sure you're sharing them. Please reach out if you'd like any more information on the 3 parts of the mind and how to benefit from understanding your cognitive strengths and your natural abilities at this time. I'm here if you have questions. Remember, trust your instincts and please stay well.